You got paid more than me. That was Mark Richt, former Georgia coach, talking to former Georgia quarterback Carson Beck about both of their moves to Miami after being in Athens. It was quite a scene at ACC Media Days in Charlotte. Carson Beck joining Mark Richt and company from that Disney property. And it was, Mark's got away with things sometimes. He said to Carson while they were up there, I know Mark was thinking about this for like days. He probably planned this one. He says to Carson, he goes, "You were at Georgia, went to Miami. I was at Georgia, went to Miami. The only difference is you got paid more than I did." And then Carson says, "I don't know about that." And Mark, of course, saying if you go year by year, I think you got me by $1 million. A lot of details there from Coach Rick that we were not necessarily aware of, Miami being a private school. Look, it's a reminder of where we're at in college football, that Carson Beck getting paid a reported $4 million a year, something like that, some substantial amount of money, is the new paradigm of college football. The agreement yesterday, reported by Ross Dillinger over at Sports Illustrated at Yahoo. Sorry, Ross. About the collectives now can go over the top in a way that won't be penalized or gone after by this new Deloitte organization. If it sounds like I'm saying a lot of words that you don't understand, or that you don't care to understand, I get it. Basically, what's going on right now is, as you know, there's been a gold rush of trying to get things through in college football. And now here we are, July 23rd, and an agreement's been struck in order to, I guess, settle things down even more. I'm not sure, so that the collectives can come over the top, which is essentially what happened with Carson, was that, Miami wanted him to be there. The only way they knew that they could do it would be to go over the top with some sort of out of organization group to get him to come there. He did. Allegedly, $4 million later, here's where we are. Well, I know what the comments are going to be down below, and that's fine. I'm in the Greg Sankey world of all of this, which is, college football is not broken at all. And there's been far more scandalous things than what we're talking about today in college football. There were steroid scandals. There were all sorts of betting scandals. You had the Pony Express with SMU. You had, Alabama. You had Clemson. You had Auburn. I don't think I need to explain all of these various, NCAA violations that happened at each school. That got us to the point where there was more regulation, and then things just stopped. There stopped being regulation, and it felt like we hit the wild, wild west. And then here we are 10 years after that, and we really are in the wild, wild west in a way. This is going to have to. I was talking with somebody on Monday about what this will all be like at the end of the day, and their view of the world. And I think this is a pretty intelligent person as it relates to these matters. I think their view of the world is that something really sort of bad is going to have to happen before something good happens. So right now, a lot of people in college football feel like, or college athletics, feel like this is all gone. We've got regulatory things on what the schools can do, but we're still out there doing our thing with collectives. I don't know how you're going to stop collectives. And let's just put it like this. Let's say Scott and Mindy at Red Zone start their collective, and their collective pays guys to come. They're paying, not just Matt DeBerry and Ryan Curley, but also Keely Ringo, Stetson Bennett, and Jordan Davis to come every Wednesday at 7:30 to have meet and greet with fans who want to say hello. And these players are paid $2 million a year. It's worth it to Scott and Mindy at Red Zone because of the publicity and the amount of gear that they sell. That is never, I just don't see how that's going to be stopped. Deloitte is an accounting firm. They are supposed to justify and make certain that the payments are not out of the realm of possibility. But I'll just say this, having done some NIL deals, who are they going to check my records because of what agreement I have? Like, how much money do they think I mean, if I pay Keely $250,000 to show up for an appearance, how do they know that that's not a legitimate appearance fee? I mean, that's not something that can be regulated. So I don't know. I think the horse is outside the barn in a way that is going to be kind of too challenging to get back in. In terms of what Mark Richt said, that cracks me up on a lot of levels. When Mark was let go at Georgia, he was making $4 million a year. That is reality. That is a fact. And, now that Carson is down there for 1 year, is making the same 10 years later as Mark made at Georgia for being the head coach. That's the part that is hard to get. I mean, inflation has been something people have been paying attention to in the United States for the last 4 years. And nothing better encapsulates the inflation of college football than Mark Richt 10 years ago making $4 million a year to be the head coach at Georgia. And 10 years, a decade later, a starting quarterback that he probably recruited at Miami. I feel pretty comfortable saying Mark probably recruited a young Carson Beck, but a high school Carson Beck at Miami. That Carson Beck is now making as much as Mark did, being the head coach of a nationally, recognized program. That's amazing. I mean, does that mean, I don't think this, what I'm about to say is true, but does that mean that the quarterback at Georgia in 10 years will be making $13 million a year? I mean, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, but I think that would be a rarity. I think that would be a very rare thing. But does it change what happens on Saturdays? For me, it does not. It does not at all. And, I'm not saying it's the best thing on earth, but I've been through this a million times with everybody on here. These kids work. These guys work. I know because I did it. I didn't do it at Georgia, but I can assure you that getting up in the morning and running, I can assure you that not going out on Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, because you have a game the next day, those are real things, whether you get paid or not. I can assure you that your coach being at your, 8 o'clock class, that's a real thing. That all of the restrictions and so forth that are on collegiate athletes, they're real. Is it worth the money that they're going to be paid from this settlement? I would say at the bigger schools it is. At Charleston Southern or UAB, maybe not. But this is what it is. I mean, these corporations have been making, probably hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars collectively over the last quarter century off collegiate athletes who have not been paid at all. I mean, I think A.J. Green, Todd Gurley. I mean, I know what it was like for Keely after the national championship, almost a year after the national championship. People could not get enough of him. What do you think it was like for A.J. Green at Georgia? What do you think it would have been like for David Pollock or Noshawn or, again, Todd, Aaron Murray? Aaron Murray would have done overwhelmingly well in the NIL world. Johnny Manziel, I think, did well in the non-NIL world. So it's just if it bothers you, I would say just don't watch it. And I know that's harsh, but the problem with feeling that way is quite frankly, no one cares. I mean, the games are still going to be played, and that we have feelings about that one way or the other is irrelevant to if it will continue. The world's going to continue to go around, and Clemson's players are still going to run down that hill. You're going to still hear that squeaking chicken in Columbia. You're going to hear the cowbells in Starkville. People, the sport has never been more popular. That doesn't mean that there's that you can just go wild with things. You can be Major League Baseball. You can be NASCAR where you overdo it, for lack of a better term. NASCAR is probably the best example. I mean, you're building tracks in Nashville. I mean, like, or Kansas. I mean, I've been to these tracks, and it's just like, there doesn't make sense to me. I would be doing 2 races in Darlington, and sort of get back to your southern roots. But college football is a huge business and has been a huge business for a long time. And that Carson, I think it's great for Carson that he has another chance to play college football. I think people are seriously underestimating how smart he is for going to college another year of college, and you're getting paid $4 million allegedly. That's a lot of money. That's like, that's Matt DeBerry money. And I think that, it is shocking that 10 years later, Carson's making what Mark did. And, Mark had to do a lot more. I mean, Carson is going to be in Miami for, 11 months, 12 months. And then he's out. He looks like a Miami quarterback. He always has. I think it's a great fit for him, and I'm very curious to watch him play. I'm hoping he succeeds. But we are in a different space, and I think that I don't think $4 million is going to be crazy for quarterbacks, particularly proven ones like Carson. And what would the value of Bryce Young what would that have been? What would the value of Johnny Manziel have been? What would the value of Cam Newton? Cam Newton, allegedly, we're talking about fraction of the amount of money that was alleged to be dealt with there. Fraction. Let's just say it was nothing. How much money let's say it was $20 or $200,000 or $5 million, which is not even close to anything that I've heard about Cam's time at Auburn. That $5 million for Cam Newton at Auburn would have been a steal of a lifetime. So again, I know it hurts people's feelings that these kids are getting paid. It doesn't hurt my feeling. I think that what will happen over time, though, is these will be contracts with the schools in some way. And the person I was talking to on Monday was saying, what happens when these agreements are not fulfilled? That's what you got to watch out for. What happens when this happens? We don't know yet. That's the problem. There's so much we don't know still about the world of college football that we're living in. We don't know how many college football playoff teams there will be in a year from now. We don't know the status of the Big Ten expansion in 4 years. I mean, they could be coming after Georgia Tech. They could be coming after Miami. They could be coming after Florida State. There's a lot of things that can be happening here soon. We're seeing the business of college football has been moving around a long time, but we're seeing seismic earthquakes out there. This is not the Southwest Conference breaking up. This is, South Carolina and Arkansas, contiguous states to the Southeastern Conference. It's not them joining the SEC. Carolina was independent. So we're watching a slow motion sausage fest. Sausage being made by a bunch of in a sausage fest for to be clear, but we're not at the end yet, and I don't know if there is an end. But I do know that Mark Richt's giving Carson Beck some grief, which is funny to me.